In chapter 10, Arjuna finally has his aha moment. He says, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma. He says, Krishna, you are the supreme Brahman. You are the supreme destination, the supreme abode. You are the supreme person to be attained. And he says this right after what's called the Chatur Shloki, or the 4 core verses of Bhagavad Gita. And those verses start with chapter 10, text 8, and go to chapter 10, text 11. So it's fun because 108 is a very significant number in Vedic culture. So chapter 10, text 8 begins the 4 core verses of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says clearly to Arjuna, Aham sarvasya prabhavo. I am the source of all material and spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from me. Iti matva bhajante mam. The wise who recognize this, they worship me with love and devotion. And then those who do worship me with love and devotion, they become most happy, tusyanti cha and ramanti cha, by spending time with one another and conversing about me. It's amazing. Throughout the entirety of the Bhagavad Gita, this is the place where Krishna says happiness is available. He uses this word ramanti cha, that you become happy, or rama means deep pleasure. That happiness comes from sharing topics of Krishna with other people. Sometimes those people may be people that have never heard of Krishna before. Sometimes those people may be other aspiring devotees. Maybe, if we're lucky, sometimes those people are those who've perfected their practice and we're able to hear directly from them. But in any case, Krishna says here that it's when you're hearing, receiving, and also giving what your realizations are about your relationship with Krishna that you feel the deepest satisfaction. Tusyanti cha ramanti cha. And it's Krishna, again, sitting in our heart that actually guides us in that experience and gives us the intelligence that we can continue to ever increasingly come closer to Him. The relationship between Krishna and the living entity is one that can perpetually go deeper because it's not based on anything mundane. It's not based on the limits of this material energy, but it's taking place in the unlimited spiritual atmosphere. And so that feeling of love, what's special about it is that it always increases. It never stops in its ability to satisfy, and it always intensifies also. So Arjuna finally recognizes this, and he says, Krishna, you're it. I get it now. You're the supreme person. And please tell me, how can I always remember this? How can I always recognize that it's you that is the cause of everything and that is loving and offering love all the time? So the second half of chapter 10, Krishna begins to describe to Arjuna the different ways that Arjuna can see him in the creation. And Krishna says, of sound, I am the syllable Om, and of sages, I am Narad Muni, I'm in the Vedas, and of trees, I am the banyan, and of aquatics, I am the shark, etc., etc. Krishna describes so many ways that Arjuna can see his opulence present in the creation. But then at the end of chapter 10, Krishna says, there's not much use in thinking about things in this way because I've only described to you a very insignificant spark of my splendor. Actually, the breadth and the scope of my influence is way beyond anything that you could ever understand, Arjuna. And yet Arjuna doesn't quite get it. And this is something that distracts many people in their pursuit of a relationship with Krishna, is that we have this idea, and it's true in one sense, that God is very big and that He's all-pervading and that somehow we have to become aware of and constantly in awe of the majesty of Krishna's creation and of Him Himself. And yet this is not really what Krishna is interested in. As he said in chapter 6, Krishna is interested in an intimate relationship. Srila Prabhupada describes like a king is not very interested actually in sitting on the throne and constantly being adored by all of his subjects. The king is much happier in his personal quarters, spending time with his queen, with his children, and his close friends. So Krishna himself is not actually so interested in the big position of being God. He'd rather just relate with his devotees as a person directly, without any of the pretense that comes along with that big position. But Arjuna doesn't quite recognize the nature and sweetness of Krishna's desire for intimacy yet. And so in the 11th chapter, we're going to hear about Arjuna requesting Krishna to show his universal form. And that's when Krishna overwhelms Arjuna again with a vision of the depth of his creation and inspires Arjuna to really take shelter simply in a mood of love and friendship in his connection and relationship with Krishna.